You're listening to the Mindful Mama podcast, episode number 138. Today, we're talking about 5 steps to a happier life. Welcome to the Mindful Mama podcast. Here, it's about becoming a less irritable, more joyful parent. At Mindful Mama, we know that you cannot give what you do not have, and when you have calm and peace within, then you can give it to your children. I'm your host, Hunter Clarke-FIELDS, Mindful Mama Mentor. I coach overstressed moms on how to cultivate calm in their daily lives and to create more peace and cooperation in their families. I've been practicing mindfulness for over 20 years. I'm the creator of the Mindful Parenting course, and I'm the mom of 2 girls who challenge me every day to hone my craft. Welcome, dear listener. I am so glad you are here today. Welcome back to the tribe, the Mindful Mama tribe. It's great to be in your ears again. I hope that you're having the fall weather that I'm enjoying. Maybe if you're on the other side of Earth, you're having the beautiful spring weather. But finally, crisp, beautiful air. So I'm so glad. Anyway, I'm so glad you're here. In a moment, I'm going to be talking to you about 5 steps to a happier life. We're going to talk about how important it is to prioritize our own happiness, not just for ourselves, even our children benefit, how happiness takes effort, and the default is that negative lens, and that, you can work against the old conditioning to be negative with permission. So I can't wait for us to dive into that. And before we do, I just want to let you know that I am going to be enrolling my Mindful Mama Transformation Group Coaching Program soon. It's a 5-month group coaching experience for women who are ready to commit to becoming the grounded, thriving women they know they can be. And it's a small, select sisterhood, and we dedicate this time to deeper inner and outer work of awakening as a mindful mom. It's really about going beyond just surviving to thriving, and it can really change everything. We might be ready. We might say, yes, I'm ready for transformation, but we can't do it in a vacuum. It really helps enormously to have a loving guidance, community support, and counsel and deep listening from a trusted mentor. So this is a program that is about helping you bring mindfulness into your daily habits and transforming your relationship with yourself and your relationships with others and your parenting. A member from the last group, Samantha, she told me that the working with the Mindful Mama Transformation Group coaching transformed her family more than 5 years of working with her therapist did. So you can check out what she says about that and learn more about the group. I'd love to talk to you about joining at mindfulmamamentor.com/group coaching. That's mindfulmamamentor.com/group coaching. And to lead that all off, we're going to have a Unmartyr Yourself week on November 12th through 15th coming up. And you can learn more about that. It's a free training about making time for yourself, speaking your truth skillfully, destroying mommy guilt, and improving your relationships and thriving without being selfish. So check that out at mindfulmamamentor.com/unmartyr. And now, on to this episode. A few podcasts back, Carla Naumburg and I talked about anxiety and what it is and the symptoms and how to deal with it. And today I'm going to talk to you about the flip side of that, happiness. So the other day, I was actually for a few days, I was really irritable with my family. There was a lot going on. I had just launched the Mindful Parenting course, welcomed lots of people in. We were dealing with people helping solve some problems that were happening. And at the same time, the world was getting turned upside down by the Kavanaugh hearings, and there were things happening in my own family and traumas being re-triggered, and the world was generally feeling kind of like a crazy place. And on top of that, I was working on my book. I'd gotten my first batch of edits back and I had to work on it. So I didn't have this chance to kind of rest after with all this. And I was kind of just like in this mode of pushing through. And I was irritable with my family. By the way, did I tell you the title of the book yet? Oh my gosh. So if you didn't hear that podcast with Carlo, in which I revealed the title of the book, I'll tell you now. Raising Good Humans. Yay! I'm so excited about it. So you can follow along with me now as I tell you about raising good humans. But anyway, I was with my family and I was irritable. Like, so for me, I notice when I get like this, I am like so focused on the to-do list. You know, I was taking this energy of like, just get everything done and bringing it into my family. And I could hear myself, you know, I was like focused on them, putting away the dishes and focused on getting this done and put away the backpack. And I remember I was sitting there with my older daughter and I was saying, you know, I just wish, you know, you guys could put away that backpack when you walk in. And she's a smart kiddo. And she said to me, you know, I'm not sure why this is such a big deal, mommy. Like, it's just sitting here near me. I'm just chilling, reading. Like, you know, basically, can you chill out, mommy? And she was right. I did kind of need to just chill out in that moment and let it go a little bit more. But my brain was focused on all the things wrong. The news was bothering me, and there was a lot of things happening. And I was just in this state of general anxiety. And I know that for a lot of people, this might, you know, for you, this might ring true to you. Like you might be saying, yes, this is how I feel a lot of the time. But for me, yeah, I'm in anxiety some of the time, but I've made a practice of making life so that I'm flourishing and I'm relaxed and happy more of the time than I'm not. And so I'm noticing the state and just realizing it like, ugh, like this is here. So what I want to point out to you here is like, you know, we can take some of these things, like we can take these issues and problems that we have in our life and we can just say, that's the way it is and I'm never going to be able to do anything about it. Or we can say, we can take these issues and problems and say, okay, this is a sign that something has to shift and move and change. In fact, we can look at all our problems and all our challenges and all those things that are happening as opportunities for change, opportunities for different choices, things like that. So with everything like that, as with everything like that, for me, there's an external and an internal game. And this is what I talk about with my coaching clients. There's always an external and an internal game. So there's external choices we can make. So I made a choice to slow down some of the things that were happening in my business and to push some things back a few weeks and to give myself the space I need to make these, to work on raising good humans, to work on the book and make these changes and not plow through and push through, to give myself some time to rest and recover and not, you know, go crazy. So I made some choices to slow down the pressure. So that's the external game. But today we're going to talk about the internal game of happiness, because the truth is that when we get to a place of like kind of general anxiety and this place of like always checking off the things off our to-do list and things like that, we can kind of a lot of people stay stuck there. And I notice a lot of people stay stuck there. And we kind of get this place of inertia where we've made a habit of worry. We've made a habit of always going, always doing, because we've been doing that for so long. There's a lot of reasons why we make a habit of that. But also, we can make a habit instead of the small joys. And that's what I want to give you today, permission to be happy, because there's so many good reasons to do that. So first, let me tell you what I did that when I was just like in that state a couple nights ago and I was like irritable with my kids and things like that. So what I did is I made those choices to change some dates and push things back. I made some external decisions. But then internally, I gave myself permission to enjoy some little things. I love watching the Great British Baking Show with my family, and we made cookies, and I got to snuggle with my youngest daughter. And so did some things to just make choices to focus on those good things. So 5 steps to kind of enjoying being happy. So this is not to say, I'm not minimizing the fact that life is hard. You don't have to be happy all the time. Like, I don't want to put any pressure on you to feel like you should be happy all the time. Like, because that's BS. That's not true. We're just not going to be always happy, and we shouldn't strive to be, right? Like, but we can make a habit of noticing small joys. So there's a balance here, right? Like we make a habit just quite naturally of worry by just the way we're wired. We're wired for survival. We're wired to look for the things wrong. We have a negativity bias in the brain, and that negative things tend to stick on us like Teflon. Or positive things are like Teflon, and negative things tend to stick to us like Velcro. So when we understand this, that we are naturally primed towards negativity, when we understand that that's just the way the brain works, and our ancestors are the ones who were really watching out for the things wrong and keeping themselves alive, then we need to understand that it actually takes some effort to make more effort to be happy than it does to be unhappy. Like, being unhappy and anxious and miserable is kind of the default in our society. In fact, like, if you're around a lot of advertisement, there's a lot of advertisement telling you you're not good enough. If you're a woman, there's advertisement telling you that you're not beautiful enough constantly, that we'll all be happier if we have the next thing, or we do the next thing, or we eat the burger, whatever it is, right? And we have our natural negativity bias. So if left to our own, left to doing nothing about it, if we take no action, chances are we're going to be kind of miserable. We're going to be overworked. We're going to be overstressed, overscheduled. We'll have too much stuff, too much clutter, and we'll be unhappy. I mean, you know people like that, right? Right? I can imagine you nodding your head right now. So we have a natural bias towards negativity. And for many of us, we've made a habit of worry over the course of time. So we've made a habit of just getting all the things done from our school days and from college and from early days of work, and a habit of worry. And so we've been practicing that for a long time. And so I don't want to minimize here that life is hard. Life has suffering. We all suffer. Everybody does. It's not easy to be alive, conscious human with the amazing joys that we're able to feel come these amazing lows. It's intense to be alive and to interact with the world on just a regular basis. And that's not even counting all the countless things that can happen in our lives. Like, life is hard. We all suffer. So I'm not suggesting that you put pressure on yourself to always be happy. You're not wrong if you're feeling badly. Our feelings are meant to be felt. And I invite you to refer back to that podcast I did with Carla about anxiety, because we talk about this, how we're meant to feel our feelings. What we practice grows stronger. So we can tip the balance. We can start to give ourselves permission to be happy. We can start to lean into happiness a little bit more. And just, it's not about flipping a switch and turning something on or off, but it's about bit by bit making small changes that can help you tip the balance so that suddenly, you're feeling content or joyful or appreciative over 50% of the time rather than vice versa. So we And when we're in that place of feeling content and joyful and, appreciative, it doesn't mean we're not going to have hard times and hard days. And it doesn't mean that if we are feeling bad or feeling anxious or feeling grief or any of those feelings, there's anything wrong with that. Our feelings are meant to be felt, and they really want to be felt. And we can develop the capacity to lean in and feel all of those feelings. And it's amazing that when we open ourselves up and say yes to feeling the things, it's amazing how much more quickly they move through our bodies than when we try to block them out and we try to resist them, because what you resist persists. So we're not putting pressure on ourselves to always be happy. We're not wrong if we're feeling badly, but can both of us, right? Can we be open to the possibility that small happinesses, appreciations, and joys are possible, actually, even when we are suffering? I think so. I think it's there. My teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, says that happiness is the way. Happiness is the practice. So we can practice to start to train our minds to appreciate and enjoy and lean towards the appreciation and enjoyment, even when we're suffering. And I've noticed that I can do this myself, even when it's hard, even when I'm feeling anxious. I can start to now tip towards appreciation. As I do that, what you practice grows stronger, and it becomes stronger, it becomes more rooted. And it's really about interrupting a pattern, right? So we have a feeling, then we have a thought about the feeling. Often that thought is like, what's wrong with me for having this feeling? And then it starts another feeling. And so with a lot of our negative feelings, we get into this downward spiral. And that's why mindfulness meditation is so important, because it helps us develop the muscle of interrupting a pattern. And when we can interrupt the pattern of, oh, what's wrong with me? Life is always like this. I'm always like this. All these thoughts, when we can interrupt those thoughts and say, I'm having a thought that there's something wrong with me. That's a big difference. That's a big difference, because when we are thinking there's something wrong with me, that's feels like a truth. But when we think, I'm having a thought, I'm having a perception that something's wrong with me, that's a whole different thing. That's a thought. And a thought is something that we can choose to believe or choose not to believe. And that's where that mindfulness meditation comes in. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But it's about really being open to the possibility of small happinesses, even when we're suffering, is about interrupting those patterns, those ruminative cycles, and then allowing for something new. We tend to think that things are always going to be the way they are, but the truth is we're never in the same moment twice, ever. Our children are never the same people twice. We are always growing and changing. That is just the reality. That's the only thing you can count on in life is change, right? So if there's always this change, can we allow for something new? And this is that essential mindfulness attitude of curiosity, right? Non-judgment. And judgment and autopilot is saying, I know what this is. I've seen this before. And so I'm closing myself off to all possibility. And the idea of curiosity and non-judgment is saying, okay, can I be open to the possibility of happiness? Can I be open to the possibility of that there's some joy here? Can I be open to the possibility that even though the rest of this day has been a crappy day and I haven't been feeling good up till now, can I be open to the possibility that I can make some choices and I can appreciate that beautiful blue sky that has happened? Can I appreciate the color of the leaves? Can I appreciate that silly child I see? In Mindful Parenting course, one of the things we talk about is this idea of impermanence. And impermanence points to that idea of constant change, because the truth is nothing lasts forever. Everything is impermanent. Our feelings, ourselves, all things in life are impermanent, even on a grand scale, the earth and all those things. So that sounds kind of morbid, Hunter. Maybe you're thinking like, this is impermanence. That means death. Oh my gosh, I don't want to think about that. But actually, impermanence and that constant change is a real gift to us, because if there were no impermanence, there would be no growth. If we could, freeze our child at 9 years old, that would be terrible, because they would never get to grow and change and move on. If we need that growth, we need that change. And with that change, I invite you to see that as a real place of possibility. So we may have practiced anxiety and fear, right? We may be kind of hardwired for that, but we can also practice joy and appreciation. We can absolutely practice that. So I'm going to share with you now 5 steps that I use and I teach my clients, and that I think that you can use to lean into the joy and lean into the possibility of enjoyment and appreciation. All right. So number 1, the first step is really to give yourself permission. Give yourself permission. It's crazy. Sometimes underneath the surface, we don't think that we deserve it. We don't think that, we're conditioned to believe that we should be suffering because of X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. But when the simple fact of giving ourselves permission can open up that door of possibility for you. So you may actually want to write it down and say it every day. Like, I really invite you to do this. Like, write down, I give myself permission to, and you might give yourself permission to do specific, to enjoy specific things. I give myself permission to slow down between coming home from work and entering the house. I give myself permission to stop and look up at the sky and get a sense of perspective. I give myself permission to appreciate the little things. So what I say to myself every day, and I got that from the 5th agreement. I have these 5th agreement cards, and I think it's really important. Like, it's that idea of, we have to work a little harder for happiness, right? Because our default is not so much happiness. So I use this card that says, and I love this, and it's so ingrained in me. I don't even have to look at it to share it with you now, but it says, I am here to enjoy life. I am not here to suffer. I'm here to be a dreamer, to be an artist, to be a seer. The mission of my life is to enjoy every single moment of my life. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. So I practice that. I believe that. And I read that to myself almost every single day. I'm here to enjoy life. I'm not here to suffer. So I give myself permission every single morning to enjoy life. So how can you maybe you can start today, maybe you can start tomorrow, to write it down. Give yourself permission to enjoy life. It's wonderful, freeing practice. Number 2, this is just to simply know that happiness takes effort. So know that the default is seeing all the negative possibilities constantly. That's just the default of how we're wired on the brain. So happiness is going to take some effort. When you can just get that into our hearts, that it actually takes a little effort, maybe take some mind training, some body training. It takes some effort to move, to evolve beyond the constant negative chatter. I mean, not that we're ever going to be like, maybe you'll be enlightened in this lifetime. Maybe I will. I don't know. I don't think so, though. It's not what I'm going for. I'm just simply inviting you to do this, to enjoy life a little bit more. So number 2 is just simply know that the happiness takes effort, and that's okay. That's okay. It's kind of, maybe it's not cool. Maybe it's kind of corny to just like, stop and look up at a tree and practice to just tap into our happiness. Maybe that feels like corny or uncool, but so what? Oh my gosh, I'd rather be happy than cool by a long shot. Number 3. So this is where you get to be deliberate about what makes you happy. So I invite you to just think about what makes you happy, make a list, and actually be deliberate, make deliberate choices about inviting these things into your life. So a lot of the things that make you happy, some of the things that I've just brainstormed quickly about, the things that make me happy, like I actually am very deliberate about my music. I know that songs get stuck in my head. My brain is very wired for songs and music. So I have a playlist it's called my Empowered and Confident playlist. And it has all these songs that are about joy, about happiness, about loving life. It's so corny, you guys. My husband totally laughs at some of these songs. But it's amazing to put together a bunch of songs, and I play this music to deliberately get these songs stuck in my head. And there's a song in there called I Love My Life by Robbie Williams, and that gets in my head. It's great. I love that gets in my head. What I Am is a beautiful song, some songs by India Ari. So these songs and this music really invites the possibility of happiness, right? I'm like watering those seeds of happiness rather than watering those seeds of suffering. So they help me. Friends, being with your friends. I heard some statistic, and I don't know if this is going to be true, but that like 1 in 4 Americans don't have someone to confide in, which kills me. It's heartbreaking because we are social creatures. We need our friends. We can't go into motherhood or fatherhood. And I know the world gets turned upside down. I know it's insane. I know it's crazy, and it feels like everything is completely turned upside down. I know. And you have to keep up your friendships. You have to cultivate new friendships still, even though life is crazy. So how can you do that? How can you go out into your community and find like-minded people? Be deliberate about spending time with your friends. That feeds your soul. Sometimes you may have social anxiety, you might be an introvert. Some of those things might be more challenging for you, but I bet even then that feeds you in a really deep and meaningful way. So number 3 is be deliberate about what makes you happy. Your friends are definitely one of them. Moving your body is one of them. For me, it's dancing. I'm so excited to go to I'm going to a daybreaker event, and I'm going to go get up at 6 a.m. and do some yoga and dance. And I'm going to have to figure out something for my kids. I might have to call my mother-in-law. I might have to reach out to some friends, but I'm making this a priority. So move your body. Do you like to practice yoga? Do you like to dance? I have a client who used to play volleyball and loved it. And we just worked on a way to figure out for her to play volleyball as an adult and go out and find the ways to do that. What sport did you love? Why aren't you doing it anymore? Why not? My brother plays soccer up in Boston with an adult league, and it's something that gives him joy. So you should be giving yourself doing the things that make you happy and give you joy and feed your body and feed your soul. And when you do that, this is not a selfish thing to do. This is how we show our kids how to live a beautiful life, how to live a good life. They are learning from what you do every day. They are learning how to live. And if they are learning that if you are showing them that your needs come last all the time, you know what? They're going to learn that too. So if you don't do it for yourself, you do it for your children. But we're going to talk about that in the next step. So be deliberate about what makes you happy. Meditation has been proven by research to increase well-being, lower anxiety and depression. It's really powerful. It's not like the fun, like dancing and volleyball, but just sitting for 5 minutes a day can make a huge difference in your life. And I've talked about that in so many ways. And I have lots of free resources on mindfulmamamentor.com. So try it out. Make a daily practice of stopping and relaxing the body and training the mind to be present as best you can, and have a sense of humility about it, because you're not going to be fully enlightened. It's not going to feel like it's all peaceful. You're going to say, oh my gosh, my mind is crazy. But meditation, despite all that, look at how it affects the rest of your life. It really makes a big difference, and it's been proven to by research. So we're in step number 3, be deliberate about what makes you happy. We've talked about music, friends, moving your body, getting enough sleep is huge, meditation. And then I want to add in here physical affection, maybe even, deep physical affection with your partner. So physical affection from your partner, from your kids, holding hands, giving hugs, aiming for like 12 hugs a day. It's great for your kids. It's great for you. Get that physical affection. It means a lot to us. And then notice those little things. Practice to notice those little things. Practice gratitude. I write down 5 things I'm grateful for every night. It's really simple. It takes me like 2 minutes, and I have a whole list of these things. And sometimes I don't feel like doing that, but I do, and because I know that it makes a difference. I'm not perfect. I don't do it all the time, but practicing to do that helps train my brain to start to notice the little things. And I know that I'm wired for negativity, so I'm working on changing that, right? I'm working on my neuroplasticity. I'm changing the brain so that I can practice these things like gratitude and appreciation to grow them, make them stronger. All right, so be deliberate about what makes you happy. Be deliberate, right? Make a list. Look at that list. And then step number 4 is prioritize your happiness. Prioritize your happiness. And for some of us, this is obvious. Okay, yeah. And then the benefit of this is that I'm happy. But for some of us, that's hard to do. So why prioritize your happiness? Well, your children, right? You're going to be a better parent when you are a happier parent. You are modeling for how to live a good life for your children. And then even beyond ourselves and our children, there's research from Sean Aker that says that happier people are actually more successful people. They do better in their work and their life. So prioritize your own happiness. And then finally, I'm going to get this wrapped up because I'm going to do something that makes me happy. I'm going to go with my family to a Renaissance fair today. We'll see how that goes. But so let's get to step number 5. So you may be giving yourself permission. You may know that happiness takes effort. You might be deliberate and you might prioritize your happiness. Step number 5 is just kind of to get support. You might be an obliger, which means that you know all this makes sense to you now. Like you're listening to me and you're nodding your head and saying, yes, Hunter, yes, yes, yes. But you know yourself and you know what your pattern is, and you might not do those things because you meet others' expectations before you meet your own internal expectations. Or you might need support because your life is busy. Or you might need support because you need that community and that community of support around you to water those good seeds. Number 5 is get support because it takes effort. It takes effort to live a happier, more content life, right? And that's okay. And we can reach out to people. We can reach out to coach. We can reach out to our friends and say, hey, will you hold me accountable for going for a walk with you, going for a walk twice a week, or heading out and going dancing, or doing a gratitude journal together. Get support. So this is important. This is the only life we have. Our kids are growing fast. We only have 18 summers with them. if we're irritable and cranky and miserable and overstressed and overwhelmed all the time, why are we doing that? What are we doing that for, right? To survive, to get by. But the happiness and joy and appreciation, these are all alternative ways to live your life, right? That are there. You can live your life with a different mindset, and you can get support to do that. So one of the ways that I give support is that I have some free programs to help you start your meditation and yoga programs and things like that. And I also do a coaching program with a group coaching program called Mindful Mama Transformation Group Coaching Program. And that's going to be starting soon. So, you can check into when it's starting if you're listening to this in the future or whatever, but it doesn't have to be me. You can get support in other ways. Get support from a coach, a friend, to help you take the steps that are going to enhance your life, are going to enhance your kids' life, are going to just start to change everything, right? From here on out. So there we go. So I hope this is helpful for you, my friends. So here are those 5 steps again to just reiterate them. Give yourself permission to be happy. Number 2, know that happiness takes effort. 3, be deliberate about what makes you happy. Number 4, prioritize your happiness. So that means then kind of put it into action, prioritize it, make it important. And number 5, get that support, meaning maybe you may get a friend, an accountability partner. Maybe you check in with a coach. Maybe you get yourself on the volleyball league. All right. So I hope this has helped you, my friend. And I would love to hear your takeaways. Check in with me there's the Mindful Mama Facebook group. It's like facebook.com/groups Hunter Clarke-FIELDS or something like that. You can find a link to it on mindfulmamamentor.com. And today I wish you some places where you're noticing the small things, where you're appreciating it, when you can just check in with yourself and say, oh, you know what? I can practice happiness right now. I can give myself permission to be happy right now. Just try that out. You might as well see how it goes and then let me know. Thanks so much. Hey, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you take some of these steps and bring them into your daily life. Give yourself permission to be happy and take some of the effort and the steps that it takes to do that. It does take effort. We're kind of wired to not be happy. So I hope you'll do that. If you would like more support on this, I have 2 important resources for you. Like I said in the beginning, I am doing the free training, the Unmartyr Yourself training, and that's at mindfulmamamentor.com/unmartyr. And we're going to talk about making time for yourself, speaking your truth skillfully, destroying mommy guilt. And that is all to lead off because I am enrolling my group coaching program, and that is a 5-month group coaching experience. And that's at mindfulmamamentor.com/group coaching. So check those out. And if you want to talk to me about those, just send me an email, reach out at hunter@mindfulmamamentor.com. So that's the Unmartyr Yourself training, mindfulmamamentor.com/unmartyr. And then the group coaching at mindfulmamamentor.com/group coaching. And I'm wishing you a beautiful week. I promise you next week we'll get our Dan Siegel podcast in, talking about his new book, Aware. I love talking to Dan. I always learn so much. So be sure to come back. All the episodes are released on Tuesdays. And if you don't get my emails, make sure you go to mindfulmamamentor.com, sign up to get those in your inbox and some exclusive things that only come through email. And I'm wishing you a wonderful, beautiful week, my friend. I'm wishing you some groundedness, some peace. I'm wishing you leaning into some of those moments of happiness. And I'll be working on that too. All right. Great to talk to you today. Namaste.